Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is GamePlan 2022. This is the first episode of GamePlan right after the very, very competitive 2022 general election. We're here to discuss some of the major events that have taken place in the past few days, and to help me do that, I have Phillip Chebunet, who's a political analyst right here in studio. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
And of course, next to him is Dr. Fred Ogola, who's a governance expert. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Phillip Chebunet, I know the side that you're supporting, and
Okay.
another side of the two coalitions that you're supporting, and you're already doing your victory laps. We can see your party leader is saying, that is Deputy President, and the President-elect William Ruto is saying that it's time now to work. But the other side, the Azimio side, the aggrieved side of that side of the political divide, is raising some serious issues, and you seem to maintain that it was their lack of planning, lack of agents. Does that really warrant electoral malpractices, the lack of agents at polling sessions?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, thank you for inviting us this evening. You can realize that I'm very happy because
yes,
the last time I was with my friend here, things were hot in some station. I want to say that the election was done and the results were announced.
Yes.
And we won the election. So the law provides that anyone who has some grievance is given 7 days to present the grievance before the Supreme Court, that is for presidential elections. And so we expect that Azimio will do that, because that is the law, and no one is denied from following due process. So, but for us, I think our game plan, I think that's why this program is called Game Plan.
No, it's unaffiliated to any side.
But we had a superior game plan, and our tactics were better than the other side, and that's why we might the winner. You have talked of agents and the organization that we had. You know, I was in Bomas. I didn't sleep for 4 days, and I really know what happened there. So I think we shall say everything as we progress.
I've asked you the question of agents.
Yes.
The Azimio side is really raising some pertinent issues, but one of the major excuses that the Kenya Kwanza alliance seems to have is we are where we are because they didn't have agents in all the over 46,000 polling stations. And my question was, do the lack of agents in those particular polling stations, is that your excuse? Is that really, because they're saying they have evidence that there were some electoral malpractices in some areas, does that warrant for your side to engage in electoral malpractices?
I don't think there was any election malpractice. If you check the script of Raila Odinga since 1997, I think it's the same complaints, the same rejection speech, and talking of agents and the other excuses. So Kenyans are used to the script of Raila Odinga. This is the 5th time. In fact, when we were in the other station with my friend, I was telling him to be careful, because they normally talk about Raila the 5th. And I think now it has been confirmed that this is the 5th time that he's losing. So I think it's good to be to study history and check that the excuses of losers, right from the MCA level, it's very bitter to lose. I've ever lost being an MP in Muiben constituency. Okay. So I also complained. But after some time, I've healed, and the constituency moved on. In fact, this time around, they have another MP. So I think it is part of life to lose, but also it's part of life to move on and accept what cannot be changed. So I think Kenya Kwanza did not have any complaint regarding the agents. Okay. I think there are some places where we may not have had agents, but if you check the results, I think Kenya Kwanza did not complain about the results of the election. So we just accepted and we did our homework, and that's why we emerged the winners. Yeah.
Dr. Ogola,
yes.
Over to you. You think there are some malpractices at the polling stations?
Yeah, because of course, like you said, they say that our lack of agents was their blessing. So I wouldn't say and confirm, but you see there were some forms which were not signed by Raila Odinga's agents. And if they were not signed and is a requirement, then the question is, what happened? Were they intentional? Was it intentional that I won't sign or not? But I wouldn't want to go into here because it's like I'm revealing the evidence to the enemy. What I can tell you as of now is that, first of all, let me say the following. This election was all about to confirm a few things. People were making noise and spoiling the name of Raila Odinga, that is a candidate for the state. If he was the candidate of the state, you know very well things could have not happened the way they were happening. Maybe the state could have called Chebukati and told him to issue the certificate Raila Odinga. And President Kenyatta, thanks to the person that he is, he stayed away from it and he's just allowing the battle to continue.
President Kenyatta is the head of state.
Yes.
He supported him openly.
Yes, but of course, if at all he wanted to tweak the results, like if he was supposed to support, not called by support by being a state project, use the state machinery, he could have used. They continued accusing us that we used provincial administration, the chief, the sub-chief. If we used them, it could have been a different story. So what I'm trying to say, for me, that's one thing. Second thing is that we know that there are some serious irregularities that you have. For example, if you just look at the number that Chebukati brought, because I will talk about credibility. Elections should be done credibly, they should be done transparently, and they should be verifiable. Okay. Now, with these things, if you have numbers, just the numbers that Chebukati read, you've been seeing these maths are happening here. No matter how small the figure is when they say the small figure, why was that not done? Maths is science. And if there's no credibility in simple maths, what else? And if this was being done from the polling station level, they are being done to the constituency level, then these errors were being done up to the county and national level. That error is significant. You know, William Ruto needed 70,000 votes to cross the line. And that's where the error is. That error you're seeing, which is 70,000 votes. It crosses the line with 70,000 votes. That error is tantamount to 70,000 votes. Now, if we take that one and you add to a few other irregularities we could see in the form, you could realize this is significant. Because look here, election is about to be a projection of people's popular will. And that's why the sanctity of Form 34A is crucial. Because the 34A is the expression of the popular will at that polling station. Now, if you look at some of them not signed properly, even I saw some form, for example, in India constituency, I look at that form. It is signed, but the number of vote is not written. Yet it is tallied by Chebukati. I don't want to mention because there are so many things. I can tell you, if at all Raila Odinga want to take this head on, he will release the smoking gun. I can tell you. But
then again, Dr. Fred Ogola, Azimio has not disputed the numbers contained in Form 34A yet.
As I told you, we want to be able to bring everything to the public.
Okay.
And you cannot wait to release a smoking gun in public, then release in court. Why is it normally called a smoking gun? It's always released at the time when the other person doesn't expect. So it will be released. When you see how lawyers will draft their prayers to court.
Yes.
In fact, if you ask, if they get it right on the prayers they have in the court, if they release the smoking gun that is required, if they ask the right prayers, I can tell you that Kenya Kwanza will think twice when they continue saying that they are the president-elect. Yeah, I can tell you that. Okay. Whether they can do it or not, I'm not a lawyer for Azimio.
Okay.
But as far as I know, I was in Bomas and I didn't see him, so I don't know. I even spoke on TV 47. I was a resident analyst in Bomas. I was inside the tallying center. I saw what happened. And some things happened that Bomas, I'll say this in live television, that was a scene of crime. Bomas was actually a scene of crime.
Okay.
And when trading was taking place, that's why they talk about the issue that he was in Bomas and he saw what happened and they won from Bomas.
And I'll give
election should not be won from
both
Bomas.
of you an opportunity to give us your versions of what happened at Bomas.
Yes.
I just want to talk about that issue of the numbers contained in Form 34A. We'll come to that bit when you, both of you will have an opportunity to talk about that. But back to you, Chebunet. There are issues that he's saying that they cannot raise in public. Are you aware of any issues that they have? I'm sure you have friends from the other side. Are you aware of the issues they have? Are they substantial in your view?
When I listen to my friend here, and this is the same language that the 4 commissioners were talking. They talk about generalities, and yet they don't deal with the facts and the issue. In fact, these guys, I don't know whether they will say in court, because I was an agent in Bomas.
Whose agent?
I was an agent for UDA, and I did 11 constituencies.
Okay.
Verification, of course, with the Azimio guys together. And let me tell you, all of us, including the Azimio agents, there was no error in Form 34A. In fact, the errors were just additions where someone would add the rejected votes in the valid votes cast. But the individual candidates got the right votes. And the Azimio agents were so good. In fact, I really sympathize with Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is a good person, but he was let down by his people, including Ogola and the others. People like Gladys Wanga, Shebesh, they were just shouting. But let me tell you, if you check the execution that Kenya Kwanza had, with the leadership, we had the whole leadership of Nano, Kindiki, and all those people. In fact, our shifts were meticulous. The agents would leave, the other shift would come. But even the Azimio guys, I remember one of the agents was even shocked that we had even tallied the Form 34A in our coalition, and we had the results. And it was actually 7.1, the way Chebukati announced. We had taken time to do our tally based on the Form 34A that was in the portal.
Chebunet,
yes.
IBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati has time and again said that he is ushering an era of openness, an era of transparency.
Yes.
Why did the screens go off at Bomas?
Let me tell you, the screens went off because I think they kept on announcing the results. The Azimio guys were complaining. In fact, I remember one time, even when you want to remove something from your pocket, they think you are removing ballot papers. It was so shocking. You could not even talk to anybody in Bomas. They were even taking videos of the verification tables. So that's why I'm saying that Raila Odinga as a candidate, I really sympathize with him. All the heckling, all the shouting. I remember on Saturday night when they were talking of that we want the UV light so that we verify the Form 34As, whether they are original. The UV lights were brought and all the Form 34As were original. So if you check their complaints, it's actually, they're actually daydreaming. And I'm sure this, if they go to the Supreme Court, that is if they go, because I know what is going to be added at the Supreme Court is the numbers. Was the Form 34A changed? No. All the agents, including the Azimio, agreed on the table, on the tables that were there. There was no Azimio agent that disputed the Form 34As. So I believe...
So you're saying they agreed with that, the whole process?
In fact, when they say that they were not signed, the documents were not signed, even their agent, that is Kanchori, did not sign the form. He's the only one who did not sign. And when you don't sign, the results will be announced.
But because he had issues with that?
He didn't have an issue. It was just politics. But Chebukati himself,
I think it's fair that you give
Chebukati himself,
Okay, just hold on. I'll
being the chief returning officer, and there are agents all over who did not sign in the country. Why are Azimio thinking they are special? No, in fact, this Mwaure and Wajakoya did not even have agents. They were just seated in one table, and we had over 15 tables in Bomas. So Azimio would not be so special to think if they don't sign, the results will be invalid.
Dr. Ogola,
yes.
you want to react to that?
You see, what's happening is that I think that it is good for my brother to know that when you generalize and say, I feel Raila Odinga, I was not in the campaign. I am a scholar. I am somebody who is very objective. I'm a scholar like him. I'm not a politician. I ran for member of parliament of Ugenya looking for ODM ticket. Of course, I don't want to say what happened on live air, but I was the preferred candidate for the ODM ticket for reasons I don't want to go to. But I was not in his agent's team.
Okay.
I was a resident analyst, political analyst.
But outside Bomas, you did not come.
No, I was inside KBC. You need evidence. I'll prove to you, please, my brother.
It's okay. Just hold on.
But the stations were outside Bomas.
Just hold on.
Just finish.
Me, I felt Raila Odinga on nothing. Actually, I did my part. Not everybody who did his part can say they have failed. But you cannot say that some people fail, then you take advantage. What we are trying to say here is that if you are a patriotic Kenyan, if you forget your phone outside, can I say you are careless, so I take your phone and run away with it? Is that fair? You know, what I'm saying here is sort of arrogance. What I want to pledge, first of all, to Kenyans, like, let's be peace-loving people. Because peace is important. At the same time, these things hurt some people. And I think that we need to feel them. Some people can actually go through psychological torture. So let's just be open and say what is true. This is not a time propaganda. There is no campaign here. Let's just state what happened, and let's forget about propaganda now, because this is not going to help. When somebody hears what you say from Kisumu, isn't it? Maybe from Kibera, they can catch emotions. It is a time to calm down emotions and use data and remove noise. In God we trust, the rest bring evidence, because you cannot bring evidence that somebody failed Raila Odinga. You cannot bring that evidence. But I'm trying to tell you, let's wait and see what the lawyers will frame and put to the Supreme Court. And from what I know, which I told you, there's no point of trying to tell people's ideas here on live television, they have some evidence that they can actually be able to generate a smoking gun. But I told you, Raila's biggest strategy will be, which question do you ask? Actually, I think that's the most thing to ask here. Because do you ask for nullification of the election? Maybe that's not the issue. Maybe what you can do is retaliate. Because if something went wrong somewhere, you can retaliate. Because also we know very well that now that deputy president has been given that election ticket by IBC, he's trying to consolidate some powers in this here and there. You saw what was happening today. And I know very well that sometimes Mount Kenya can wake up and vote more than they voted, because when we got the report for voter turnout, which was done at 4 p.m. on the voting day, it was very low. All of a sudden, it went up by over 30%. I was at Bomas when he was giving a press conference. Maybe
are you saying that's not possible?
No, I'm not saying it's not possible, but within 1 hour, given the polling station that were extending, I don't think. Even if we do logically, even if you do maths, we know how long it took everybody to clear Kim's kit. I did vote. How long did it take? If you count those minutes and you count all polling stations as processors, you find that there is evidence that that number was actually going up. People have talked about the issue of Kiambu, Mount Kenya. Numbers were being inflated. And I can tell you, Form 34A being the popular expression of people's will, that form, it is so important. And as I can tell you, you will find evidence that no one actually can be able to justify, like my brother here, that they actually can tally what they are trying to say. Because the maths we saw Chebukati giving were worked backwards. I want him to have this percentage, and I begin from here working backwards. And numbers moved. We are mathematicians. And I'm an economist. These numbers could not be reached just by real tallying. They were like, this is the percentages I want, and I begin from what I want to give, and go backwards. It may not be surprising to me if Chebukati had 2 tallies and 2 certificates. And that's why I'm also suspecting that when he called that he's going to issue the certificate at 3 p.m., Raila was ready to come and pick his certificate. It changed to 4 p.m., then it changed to Ruto. I cannot be surprised.
Dr. Ogola, let me
cannot
ask
be
you.
surprised.
Let's say Azimio goes to court and a retallying is ordered. Will they be comfortable to have a rerun with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission as currently constituted?
I think that what Chebukati has done, what Chebukati has done, you know, I'm a governance expert. Forget about all these things that Chebukati could announce without commissioners. Let me tell you, if you run a team you cannot manage to go and announce election, in fact, it shows leadership issues. How can you be trusted with the noble cause of declaring a leader as important as the President of the Republic when you cannot even lead your team? I don't know. Okay. I don't know whether if your wife cannot even trust with your children at home, how can they trust you to make such a significant decision like deciding who is the next president? It determines who has food on the table. It determines who has healthcare, who has education. Such a decision cannot be trusted with someone who cannot manage 7 people. Just 7 people. If you can't manage 7 people, can you be trusted with leadership of that level? I don't even know how he reached there. In fact, I was just praying the other day when I was crying about all this election, and I said, oh my God, how did we trust such a guy with such an important duty to our nation?
Okay.
For me, I think Chebukati declared election as an individual. I don't think he declared as a commission. And that's my thinking. Because
he's a presidential returning officer.
No, but I'm saying the Constitution did not meditate that this is a personal thing. He was declaring results from the commission. You know, of course, not everybody could declare the results. But of course, there's that duty, noble duty, to declare it himself, isn't it? But he has to work with a team. How do you declare results when some people are in Serena? Let me tell you what, my brother, even here in the TV house, you have a team, isn't it?
Yes.
You have the camera team, you have the crew team, you have what team? One day you can't come here and say, now people don't want me to do a show, let me do this show alone. You must work with a team. And if you can't manage 7 people, can you be trusted with the duty of declaring the president of this country?
Okay.
For me, that is a good question that maybe you can tell me. No one should trust Chebukati at all.
Chebunet, the division of the commission does not really have a huge impact in law as it is currently, but it really damages the electoral body's reputation. Don't you agree with Dr. Ogola?
Yeah, when you hear Fred Ogola speaking, you now see why Raila Odinga cannot win any election in this country. Because you can see even the arguments that he is giving. I believe even the Supreme Court judges...
But his argument is not tied to Raila's bid.
The Supreme Court judges are listening to him. When you go to the Supreme Court, let me give you free advice. You go and deal with the numbers, not the commissioners and not Chebukati.
I want to say this.
Go and show.
We were told this before.
Dr. Ogola, I'll give you an opportunity. I'll give you, calm down. Gentlemen, calm down. I know, like you started by saying, you've had these arguments before, but my question was very simple. The division of the commission, as it is currently, does not really have such a huge impact when in terms of the law, but then again, its credibility is really damaged. Isn't that right?
You know, when my friend says that Chebukati should not have announced alone, when you talk about the 7 commissioners, for me, I believe when you talk about concurrence, you are dealing with things like HR, employment, tenders, and so forth. That's where you need that quorum.
Okay.
But when you talk about the chief returning officer, that is Chebukati.
Yes.
He has a sole responsibility to declare the election. So one of the commissioners was talking of we should have taken a vote on the results. That means you should add the 14 million votes of Kenyans plus 7 of the commissioners. It is really ridiculous. So I think that commission, in fact, the 4 commissioners, they were appointed during the handshake regime. And so I think they had a specific mandate to deliver this election for Raila Odinga. So, but the 3, that is Chebukati and the 3, they are the ones who are in the commission for a very long time. what I just want to tell
Do you think such kind of talk is what that is what acts the IBC chairperson of Chebukati? He's been complaining, he's saying that his staff are being profiled. When you say there were the 4 who were appointed during the handshake, I mean, this is a constitutional office.
Yeah. But you saw even the speech that Cherera was giving is the same speech that Raila gave. If you are keen to listen to. These are people on an assignment.
I think there's
so,
to answer this point. Just give me a moment.
Just a minute, I'll give you an opportunity.
So I think you saw it very clearly, that it was a well orchestrated. In fact, I can even say Chebukati did not have quorum because they had ran away to Serena. There was no quorum. If they were around, maybe would say that they would be quorum. But now, when the results are being declared, they are already in fact, there was a split screen in your screens. You are showing Serena, and you are also showing Chebukati announcing the results. Okay. So I think there was no numbers in Bomas.
Okay. Let me say this. I think again, my brother Chebunet, we are scholars, and I think also, we are not just being here to entertain people. Also, we are here to educate and inform. The question is, legally, maybe lawyers can say it's fine, but morally, reputation, in moral terms, is that how you do stuff? Even at home, if I'm right, I may agree for not to do something because I have children at home, I have my wife at home, maybe I can be right, but as a family man, I should be a leader who have followers. Leadership requires that you are being followed. If you are walking alone, you are taking your walk. And I believe that the issue of trying to coalesce around, there was enough time still, because there were still more hours, to try at least to lead the team and then declare the results as a commission. So I believe that dented the reputation. If anybody does not think so, then they have an issue themselves.
But then again, Dr. Ogola, this brings to the fore.
Because there's what you call legal and moral.
Yesterday,
legal is, it could be that he's a returning officer and he can declare results. It could be. I'm not a lawyer. But in moral terms,
that's what we are saying. Yes, in terms of the law, it might not have a huge impact. But then again, the credibility, the reputation of the commission. Yesterday, the chairperson says that the 4 commissioners had tried to force a rerun. He is bound by constitutional timelines. They had locked horns. What options did he have?
I think that if they were trying to post a rerun, what was their numbers? This is what I'm trying to say. Let Chebukati tell us what was their tally to bring a rerun. And then you know what's happening? I tell you, we are scholars. In God we trust, the rest bring what? Evidence. Chebukati brought his numbers. They sort of look cooked, worked backwards. Yes. In fact, that's what is happening on social media. I'm speaking something which is factual, isn't it? He should tell us what were the other commissioners bringing in terms of numbers, and that error Chebukati made the difference, and it made the William Ruto cross the line and get the 50+1 vote. And I think that is significant. Let me tell you, even if you want to steal 1 vote, why? You can't tell me I can steal one cup from you, but that's not bad. But if I steal 1 million cup, then it's significant. Stealing is stealing. Theft is theft, period. I don't have to argue here, but I only stole 2, even if I only stole 3. We are a country.
We're talking about, we've talked about the commission as a whole. Let's talk about the 4 dissenting commissioners. They came out saying that they have evidence. Then there was the issue of the 0.01%, which translated to something that did not make sense mathematically. What do you make out of that?
Well, the commission was very candid. What I would say is that when Raila Odinga was to make his press conference, I think he should have been, he was advised by his team to allow to hear what the commission is saying. In fact, when he says that Raila said what the commissioner said, I was privy to it. So I was privy to it. But the most important thing was, let's hear what the commissioners are saying. If, for example, you want to make a statement that someone has stolen your book in the library, and then a librarian is to issue a statement, don't you wait to hear what does the librarian say, which evidence does he present? Then you make yours. Then he discovered that actually the press statement he was to make had a serious correlation with what the commissioner said.
So Azimio was communicating to the 4?
No. Of course, we knew, when a press conference is supposed to be given, that was live press conference also for Raila Odinga at KICC. Normally, communication happens between different media houses, isn't it?
But the 4 don't hold any office?
No. No. So I'm saying that the issue that was very clear was that he waited when he was supposed to make a press statement for the commissioners to make a press statement. Then he made his. Now, on the issue of saying about the error, that error simply tells you there's something that there's more than meets the eye. Okay. Now, they said in that press conference, again, my friend can confirm, they are going to give a comprehensive report.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so why don't we wait for their comprehensive report rather than coming here? Let me tell you, we are people.
Yes.
One day, you'll be trusted with leadership, and people will put mud on you. Don't put mud on somebody. Don't tell they are stupid, they were compromised, I don't know, they were in handshake. Let us wait, because it's just a matter of waiting. Why are we impatient? Okay. We wait for them to give their statement, and once they have given, we discredit. If it is fine, we take it. Let's wait for Supreme Court to convene. If Raila Odinga takes his evidence, we credit it. Okay. If not, we discredit. Why do you want to discredit evidence you have not seen? And that's what my brother is. This actually is committing a terminological inexactitude. Let's be honest here. When you discredit evidence you have not seen, I think there's something wrong with you. I have not discredited their evidence that they won the election because they don't have evidence. The only evidence they have is that they were given the certificate. Numbers don't tally. You understand? And the fact that numbers don't tally, it is a fact. Okay. Well, let's wait for the commission to give their comprehensive what? Statement. If it is false,
I think
I'll let you react because I want us to take a very short break.
I think we should not entertain the issue of numbers don't tally, because these results are in the national portal. So you can even tally yourself. In fact, you can even tally when you are in Australia. When you are in America, you can get your own people and they tally the results the way Kenya Kwanza tallied, and it was exact the way it is in the national portal. So I think let us not entertain these discussions where we are talking about the tally.
Before you even go on with the point, this public portal that you're talking about, the IBC has confirmed, rather admitted, that there were attempts to hack into it. There were attempts to compromise it. Don't you think that will raise some eyebrows?
And I think that's why they never succeeded, and that's why we have the results. So one thing that is the winner in this election is the Form 34A. In fact, the winner in this election are three people. The first one is the polling station. When the results were declared, that is final. Number two is Chebukati, because he stood firm. In spite of the pressure that he had from the commissioners, he declared. And then the other thing that is very clear is that the forms were not interfered. And I know the only place where the commissioners could not agree with Chebukati is the additions. They wanted to add the numbers. So I think that's where they did not agree.
The numbers from where?
They wanted to add, because the commissioners wanted to vote and determine the winner. I think that's where they could not agree. So, and that's why they feel that they were let down by the four commissioners.
I think
the commissioners wanted to agree so that they have a runoff. And Chebukati refused. You cannot agree, you cannot vote on a vote by the people.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say something. In
a minute or less, because I want us to take a very, very short break.
Yes. Okay, what I wanted to say is that I think it was not appropriate for the commission to come in live television and say that the portal was attempted to be hacked 200 times. Who attempted? You know, that's evidence we need to know. Who is this who attempted to hack it 200 times? Some people are left doubting whether did they succeed or they just managed people by saying they did not succeed. There is a need to do a penetration test into the ICT system to know who tried to hack it. Even the computer who came to the IBC tallying center, there's a computer these guys were bringing there. Also, there's suspicion.
No,
I'm not an IT expert. I'm saying there's suspicion. I'm using very chosen words. Why was it there? Actually, the police took that computer. It went to Bomas or Kenya police station for investigation. We still don't know what was investigated. So I'm saying there are so much that Kenyans need to know. Let us not preempt too much. Let's just be solidly waiting to see what is going to come from those investigations.
And I want us to come back with that. Just hold on, Chebunet. I want us to come back with that because both teams had very competent IT personnel.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that. But time now for a very short break. This is Game Plan 2022. Remember, you can be part of this conversation. My Twitter handle is at Eric_Mnene. I have a Twitter handle is at TV47_KE. We are talking about the events, the major events that took place in the past 2 weeks, culminating to the announcement of our Deputy President William Ruto as the president-elect. Time now for a very short break. Don't go, we'll be back with more.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome to The Grind. My name is Raila Odinga.
At first, it's always a tedious process at the beginning.
Do you know what it takes to even stay at a place in a business for that long?
No.
So that triggered me, and I woke up and I was back onto my feet and I got new energy. Yes.
Every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is Game Plan 2022, the post-election edition of Game Plan 2022, and in studio to help me understand some of the biggest issues that Kenyans are currently discussing is Phillip Chebunet, who's a political analyst, and Dr. Fred Ogola, a governance expert. Dr. Fred, before we went on that short break, we were talking about the hacking claims on that public portal.
Yeah.
The one that the IEBC says is watertight and cannot be compromised. Both sides, the Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance, as well as the Kenya Kwanza, had competent IT personnel who can come up with security logs to show the attempts, where those attempts were being made from, don't you think?
Let me tell you what, no one can say that there's a system that cannot be hacked. Immediately they say that, you should not even respect their opinion. Because can I give you an example? A central bank of Bangladesh, somebody hacked into that system. The system of a central bank. This is evidence. Somebody hacked it, sent the money to Philippines and withdrew it in sacks. It's, even if you Google it, you'll find that evidence there. And I asked a question of Bomas. The very first day, after the first brief, I asked Chebukati and his team, is IBC control of the system, or the system is in control of IBC? It is available in the media. If you check, you'll find it. Ask that question. And they gamble and say, of course, IBC is the one who bought You can buy a phone which can control you. You can buy a car that kills you. You can always buy a house that you ends up, you can even marry a wife that, so we know all these things. The fact that you buy it does not mean you're in control. And I can say that, who really understands this system? If you could see, this system was supposed to generate these numbers, there should be no error. Raise another question. I can see some numbers here. These cannot account for around 17 votes. That one, they had just been able to tally around 4 million votes.
Okay.
And I raise the question. No one could be able to generate that. So what I'm trying to say here is the system can be, but I don't want to go there because I cannot prove or not prove that the system was hacked or not. Me, I'm a scholar, I don't want to waste my time to talk recklessly. But it was reckless of IBC to give half information. They could have told us that the system was hacked or tried to be hacked by so-and-so, and for what purpose, and from where, even location. If we want to give such sensitive information, because some people believe that maybe it was hacked, now it brings the credibility of all those forms they are saying they are in the public portal we should tally into question. Because if we believe that somebody hacked the system, added forms which did not reflect the true reflection of what happened in the polling station, that is subverting the people's popular will. So for me, that thing of coming to say they tried 200 times, without even them noticing, in a span of how many hours? It has not even taken 32 hours from the time when voting took place. And it has been hacked 200 times. Who is this? From which location? And to what extent did they succeed? I can tell you, my brother Philip, if you believe the system cannot be hacked, wait a minute.
Okay.
It will, you will be shocked.
Okay.
Chebunet, let me ask you a question. As a political analyst, in your view, from where you sit, why is it that President Uhuru Kenyatta is yet to congratulate the president-elect?
These Azimio people, they really put President Uhuru Kenyatta at a fix, because you saw how Mwai Kibaki left politics, and he went with a lot of respect and a lot of honor. This president, I think the reason why he has not recovered, you saw him even up to the last Sunday, even when the campaign period was over, he was still coalescing around the vernacular Kikuyu stations, trying to rescue Raila Odinga. I think the president is still recovering, and you saw today that he is almost recovering, because he met some visitors. So you see the way he's recovering. So what I saw as the results of Raila Odinga, it is Raila Odinga's efforts. In fact, these results of Raila, there is no deep state. This 6.9, it is Raila Odinga's efforts. Raila Odinga discovered that on the voting day, the deep state was not around. The deep state left Raila Odinga. In fact, you have seen Mutai Ngunya and other people, bloggers of Azimio. They are really disappointed, and they are saying that the system did not help them. Even the brother of Raila Odinga himself, he was being interviewed the other day, and he said the system vanished.
Okay.
So, I think the government machinery was not around. In fact, this thing called system, my friend, is hot air. It does not exist. That's what Kenyans should know. Because if the system was around, they kept on talking about the system all this time, but the campaign tactics of Kenya Kwanza and talking to the people, looking for the votes, I think that's why you see even in Central. In fact, what is making Uhuru Kenyatta not to recover is not even the failure of Raila Odinga. It is how Mount Kenya embarrassed him by voting for William Ruto.
Dr. Ogola,
Yes.
like he's talked about the deep state. And I remember Raila's elder brother, the Senator Oburu Oginga, saying that now we have the system, but now he's come back to correct his statements and said that is not actually what he meant. But seeing a lot of conversations online, people are talking and saying probably this was just a small issue. President Uhuru Kenyatta siding with Raila probably was just a small issue in a grand scheme of things. He probably was being kept busy for the past 5 years. These are conversations I have to insist that are online. From where you sit and from the people you interact with, are there people in your camp that have the same feeling that probably Baba Raila Odinga was being played? Maybe he was being kept busy so that Uhuru could finish his term peacefully and then hand over the baton to his deputy?
I think, first of all, I hold President Uhuru Kenyatta with deep respect. I have even written articles, done YouTube channels showing that he will go down as my best president.
Okay.
Even if the results are like this and people say he didn't support Raila and help Raila win, I wouldn't change my mind about it. I will still respect him. He's a president we shall miss. And to the point on the issue of the fact that Oburu was talking about these systems and deep state, we had a narrative in the whole of Kenya. We told people, Baba's deep state is your vote, because there was no deep state. In fact, I told you in the beginning that the fact that Raila was not, did not win the way they won shows clearly that there was no deep state, and actually is a culmination. Phillip, one day you can test for election, and you can win without someone saying they have deep state. I think for me that is the testimony here, because President Uhuru Kenyatta just allowed the process to continue and end. Now, on the point of President Uhuru Kenyatta not being able to congratulate William Ruto, I think he's a very constitutional man, and he knows when to do it. We still don't have president-elect until that...
gazetted?
No, we are waiting. Gazettement can be done. Even the other time they gazetted the date for opening schools, and they again degazetted it.
Okay.
So the gazette can be done.
Okay, go ahead.
Those ones have no constitutional implication. But I'm trying to say that President Uhuru Kenyatta will congratulate the person. Like today, he talked to the priest, the churchmen, and said, when the guy who will eventually be ready to be sworn in comes in, he will be able to cooperate and hand over power. So I'm sure that if the 7 days elapse before Azimio goes to Supreme Court to look for the court to make a decision, he will congratulate him. I think so. And if Raila Odinga goes to court and the Supreme Court is not able to overturn that election or make a decision, he will congratulate him. If Raila goes to court and overturns the election, go for election and win, I'm sure President Uhuru Kenyatta will congratulate him. So at the moment, it is too early to preempt to say he has not congratulated him. And I'm sure that even me, I've not congratulated him. I'm waiting for the time when I'm sure. You know, you cannot celebrate a goal which has not come. Let me tell you something.
Just a minute, just hold on, let me finish.
There's a book I've written.
Yes.
Maybe this book I need to give you a read. It is called Politics and Game Theory.
Okay.
In game theory, in politics, we have the referee. The referee is now IBC. We have the players, which are now the candidates or the parties. Then we have the voters. In football, we call them the fans, isn't it? And of course, then we have payoff. Payoff is winning the election or losing election. Then in election, we have super referee. Just like nowadays, we have video assistant referee. So nowadays, when you score a goal, you look at the referee, he says it's a goal, then look at VAR to see it's a goal. So it is too early to celebrate a goal before VAR has talked. So we have to wait for Supreme Court to say it is a goal or no Supreme Court. So it is too early to congratulate anybody. Don't congratulate people because tomorrow people remind
Let me say something.
I want
something.
Very briefly, because I want us to switch gears and talk about something totally different.
You have seen the congratulations that Ruto has received from Uganda, even from America, from all these countries. So I think what the situation that this team of Azimio are in is like the one of Manchester United now. They have lost 2 matches. They even don't blame the referee. In fact, they blame Cristiano Ronaldo. And you know what? On Monday, they are playing with Liverpool. And I think that's like the Supreme Court.
I am a Manchester United fan.
That is like the Supreme Court.
You'll dampen my mood.
The Liverpool is like the Supreme Court. So,
but let's switch gears. Let's switch gears, Chebunet. I remember when the president-elect, William Ruto, was handed the certificate. In his speech, he said, I will work with the opposition to the extent that they provide oversight over my administration. And he was very, very categorical that he wanted a strong opposition. Also saying that he was not intending to shake hands with anyone. But then again today, as of today, August 18th, he says, we salute the United Democratic Movement, that is UDM, leadership for abandoning Azimio la Umoja and joining Kenya Kwanza. Yesterday, he received over 10 independent winners to his side of the Kenya Kwanza. We repealed Section 2A of the Constitution about 30 years ago, so that we strengthen our democracy. Aren't we probably heading to a single-party state?
I think where we are going, I think what William Ruto was doing today is to consolidate numbers in Parliament. And going by what you have seen, I don't think the Azimio people have anything to do in that Parliament, because even tomorrow...
And that's my question.
Even tomorrow...
Why would he want a weaker Azimio side? If he's sworn in, why would he want a weaker Parliament?
That's why I'm telling you, even tomorrow, some Jubilee guys, I hear rumors as it, that they are going to defect to Kenya Kwanza. So,
but you're better placed to tell us if there are rumors or not.
Yeah, if you want to win anything in Parliament, it is numbers. It's like winning an election. So I think the Kenya Kwanza people are just consolidated. If you want to pass any policy, if you want to pass any law, You need numbers. And I think if you see these people defecting and going to Kenya Kwanza, it means they were in Azimio physically, but their spirit was in Kenya Kwanza. It was just a matter of time. Because these guys were coercing people and forcing people. I think people are just saying, let's wait after the election. In fact, people no longer fear anything now. From tomorrow, you will see people defecting and coming to join Kenya Kwanza. Because they were fearing the state. You saw even today, I saw even the stories in the media. The media now have started becoming bold. In fact, they are airing stories that they used not to air before the election. So I think Kenya is undergoing a transition, and the guys are beginning to know that there is a new change.
About the media, that can be contested. Yeah, because I work in the media. I don't think we've been gagged by anyone. But I've seen your top economist, that is Dr. David Ndii, saying by close of business tomorrow, that is on Friday, by close of business, you are going to bag another big signing. And I'm going to hold it right there before you answer me that. Dr. Ogola, Ruto is handed the certificate, says that he wants a strong opposition. A few days later, he's literally taking everyone from Azimio and independent candidates to his side. Red flags, if you ask me?
According to me, you know that Raila Odinga has been known for the issue of being progressive in terms of building democratic space. I'm sure everybody will give it to him. And Ruto has always on the other side of the equation. And I'm sure that you can't trust him with the fact that he would like to have a strong opposition. And of course, we know how many lies have been told, and we know who lies every day. And you cannot trust a liar to say the truth tomorrow. So if he says today, you have said very well, he said today he wants a strong opposition. Tomorrow, he's the one now trying to buy opposition. Then do you trust him? For me, we are on live television. I told you, this election for Kenyans is about whom do you trust. For me, I'm not afraid to say what I'm saying. I don't eat at Raila Odinga's house. Okay. I don't eat at Ruto's place. I'm just saying the fact. For me, I think that is not a good move because you're going to weaken, if at all, Azimio remain in opposition, you're going to weaken it. And then, interestingly, even if he says that, of course, that people are fearing the state, let me tell you what, my brother, this is a trend we have always seen. After every election, it's not something that will surprise me, that people want to shift where power seems to be shifting. So those are just typical politicians. Yeah. I don't see anything really unique about it. Yeah. Okay. If Raila won, you could have seen similar movements. So this is just typical thing. It happens every year, every election. I see it very normally with the politician. Politician says there's no permanent enemies and friends. There's just permanent what? Interests. So obvious to me.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, I'm going to speak to William Ruto after this. Okay. So that this office of the opposition will be strengthened. You know
what are you going to tell him?
You know what Raila loves, eh?
What is it that you're going to tell him that he doesn't know?
It is good for even the law to be amended so that this office will be strengthened with resources, with the police chase cars, a very nice office, and for Raila to feel a lot of power. Because really, someone who has gotten 6.9 million votes, and he has assisted so many people to go to parliament, and then you find him loitering in the streets, I think it's unfortunate. So I think we are going to give advice to William Ruto to enhance the office so that this office will be very strong.
Chebunet, yes. Let's stick with the United Democratic Alliance. There's this question that I think a lot of people have been asking, and it's quite controversial. We had when President Uhuru Kenyatta and that is his deputy were holding hands, wearing same ties. There was that talk of yangu kumi yako kumi. Is there such a talk in your camp as it is right now with Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president-elect?
Going forward, I don't think we shall repeat the script of Jubilee. There are so many things you cannot learn from what happened. I think we'll take the positives, but going forward, I think the humiliation that William Ruto got in that government, it was too much. And so I think going forward, we shall not really have a repeat of that. William Ruto has said categorically that he will not embarrass his deputy. And I think with Rigathi Gachagua and Kenya Kwanza, I think in Kenya Kwanza, we only have one leader, and that is William Ruto. And when it reaches 2032, because I believe we are going up to 2032, I think the coalition will sit and will determine who is the best candidate, and the people are going to vote.
Your party has said that it's
In
not
fact,
automatic.
in fact,
Your party has said severally, and I have that evidence. It has said severally that it is not automatic, that President-elect William Ruto will defend his seat in 2027. Why are you pushing it to 2032?
That is why, just give Ruto the first 5 years. You will see wonders. I'm telling you, in fact, you saw even when he started speaking after the election. Schools are being opened, people are going about their businesses. Kenyans have discovered that life needs to go back to normal. In fact, he sounded presidential, if you saw him today and even yesterday. So I think William Ruto will prove to these people in these 5 years. And you are going to see that in the next election, there will be no need even for William Ruto to go around looking for votes.
You want to react to that, Dr.
I think that let's be human beings, and I also don't believe on hyping things too much. I don't know how much my friend has been paid to talk the way he's talking, but as a scholar, this is not good for us to say. Me, what I would like to say is that we wait for the Supreme Court process. And also, I'm happy that I've not heard the talking about the issue of Kumi, because those promises, we know that political promises are remaining political promises. Even we have on the other side where promises have been made, you support me, then I'll support you. We have all those things. Those are not sins. There's no sins in politics by not keeping your promise, not a sin. But let me tell him that in as much as Kenya Kwanza can say that Deputy Ruto was humiliated by Uhuru Kenyatta, is the other way around. Uhuru Kenyatta can equally say that he had a deputy who was not loyal to him. And a running mate, even if you go to American Constitution, vice president just need to be principal deputy. And you deputize your boss. You cannot become the boss. And you've heard this story on the button.
But he was pushed aside.
No. This story has been told. I told him, let's come together and bring the peace when there was this issue where Raila contested the election, isn't it? They refused to go to the election, and President Uhuru Kenyatta was saying that there is need for peace so that we can have development. For development to take place, there must be a sustained period of peace. So they disagreed on that matter. Let me tell you what. Joe Biden said during the time when Obama was president, he disagreed with Obama on 8 things. You understand? Then after he came back as president, he went to the office, Oval Office, and reversed those 8 things when he was now president. But during the time, he was loyal to him. And President Uhuru Kenyatta deserved loyalty from his deputy. Because if I've told you, I'll do my 10, then you do your 10. Wait and reverse my decisions. You cannot come and change. I have a boss in Strathmore as well.
Yes.
If he tells me, Fred, this is how I'm seeing things. If I disagree, I keep quiet. I cannot start doing my own things in the university. So I'm saying it is good for us to be loyal. Even now, we are loyal to the Constitution. Loyalty is a good thing. And I'm urging him, let's check our language. Let's respect those who have lost. Let's respect those who seem to have won until the Supreme Court. I know that when the president is declared president, constitutionally, all of us, when I travel out of the country, they'll be saying, the President of the Republic asked you to take care of Fred through my passport, isn't it? Yes. So no one will refuse this presidency. But what we don't want is, let's talk about peace, let's unite the country. All those things he's talking about, they are too early. And let's just tell Kenyans to remain calm. There's a process. Even as we told Raila Odinga, follow the process, we support you in the process.
I think Bilal Tofik is watching us and he's saying the problem is not the state not being able to help Raila. The problem is the opponent that Raila has. Ruto has everything on everyone. He is the deep state. The deep state is him and he is a shrewd leader. I want us to wrap this up, Chebunet. Are you quoting Kalonzo Musyoka?
In fact, today, the person who has lost after the UDM MPs defected to Kenya Kwanza is Kalonzo Musyoka. In fact, he had been promised to be the Speaker of the National Assembly, but it evaporated today at around 10 a.m. in Karen, because voting is numbers will decide in Parliament. So I think Kalonzo Musyoka, I really sympathize with him. If Raila Odinga had picked Kalonzo Musyoka, it would have even been much better. The Mother Karua that Raila picked never delivered. In fact, he delivered 14% of the vote in Mount Kenya. And Kalonzo Musyoka delivered over 1 million votes. So Kalonzo Musyoka is welcome. If he has discovered that he has been duped in the other side, William Ruto is a Kenyan, and we really welcome Kalonzo Musyoka. He's a renowned leader, experienced.
So there have been talks.
I don't want to say there have been talks, but he can come anytime. He is welcome. Even Raila Odinga can say today that I'm no longer going to the Supreme Court. I have accepted that Ruto has won.
I can see Dr. Ogola laughing at
In fact, because Kenyans have moved on really. Nobody is interested. In fact, and I can tell you.
Which Kenyans, Chebunet, to be fair?
If election
7.1, as the figures are, provided by the IEBC.
The way my friend is talking
6.9 million other Kenyans who have not really moved on.
Let me tell you, there are people even speaking from Kisumu. They are saying they are tired with this thing. They are ready to move on. So this thing of, in fact, even what I expect, even for our shows going forward, we should be discussing how the standard of living will be improved. We should be discussing about the fuel prices. We should be discussing things that will help Kenyans. Because truly, let me tell you, I saw on Tuesday, there was no one in the streets. Was it on Tuesday or Monday in Nairobi? But today, you can see the way people have started coming up, and we shall just be watching. Because if this is the evidence that they will give in the Supreme Court, what I have seen my friend speaking here, if they don't point out about the numbers and how Form 34 was changed in the portal, in the national IBC portal, they are going to lose misery.
But he's just said they have enough in their war chest for that.
But have you, has he mentioned any Form 34A altered?
It's okay. Let's wrap this up. Dr. Ogola, very briefly,
for me,
how do you plan, if we are to go for a rerun, how has the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance organized itself?
Yeah, first of all, I think that what Raila Odinga has done really truly falsifies what everybody has said about him before, that he likes violence. You say it has been calm. He just went and gave his speech in KICC. He's put lawyers to work on the process, and he's waiting to follow the constitution. He's not cried on social media crying who betrayed me, who didn't betray me. He will go through the process. If Supreme Court gives him another chance, I think that Azimio would have learned a few lessons from our colleague. You know, when you are running against someone who is being called a thief, I'm sure what they didn't maybe know, that he is not going to only steal what you are saying he's stealing, but actually he can steal the election. So I'm sure there are lessons that we have learned. So we are not afraid of a runoff, and we are not afraid of anything. What we know is that I'm very happy, not just for Raila Odinga, but for all Kenyans. And I would like to ask my brother Chebunet that let's preach peace. This country is for all of us. All of us will be able to bow before the leader, no matter whether you like it or not. In fact, he's been saying that he's having 6.9 million. That will end what we know we have one Kenya. We don't have a Kenya of 6.9 million, and I don't know what million. We are all Kenyans. We will take respect of the guy who will be declared the winner according to the constitution, and we'll move on. Okay, thank you very much. Chebunet, briefly, as we wrap this up in a minute or less, your parting shot.
I think what I would advise the Azimio people is follow the law, go to the Supreme Court, and ensure that you have evidence. Because cases in the Supreme Court are won through evidence. And the evidence must be numbers. Can you prove that Form 34A was altered? That's how I can end.
Thank you very much, Phillip Chebunet, a political analyst. Thank you so much, Dr. Fred Ogola. There's the handshake. Great. A governance expert. Thank you so much for finding time to grace our show. Asante sana. Thank you. And thanks to you, viewer, for watching. This has been Game Plan 2022. On behalf of everyone who has made this a success, including my producer, Tony Mwirigi, my director, Emmanuel Inonda, and everyone else who